There we are, campsite 26. The shore right there by the campsite marker is very stony. It looks like most people hook around the backside of the peninsula on which the campsite sits and land there and not here where it's all rocky. And it looks like that's where most people come to land. It's a short, gentle incline up toward the campsite, and you come up into a wide, well-shaded campsite. There is a picnic table, which is nice. It's a broad, level campsite with plenty of room for tents well away from the fire ring. It is fully shaded. It has a full canopy, so you won't have much of a view of the night sky from behind the fire ring or at the picnic table. The view is basically to the north. Due north, there's an island. There's some private camps over there on the opposite side of the bay. There's a huge erratic out in the bay just off the campsite. Here's the waterward side of that giant erratic that sits off campsite 26. You can see somebody sank an eye bolt into it at the bottom and then at the top, or a pin people tie up to, and then they like to swim off of it. So people will come in here with their boats. I do not recommend jumping off. Really makes for a spectacular view. And off to the northeast is Joe Indian Island. On the northwest to north side of the peninsula, you have a sandy bottom strewn with boulders. This would be why most people go around to the other side of the peninsula to land their boats. It's also why you have to be extremely careful coming in here. Your prevailing winds will come from the west and the southwest. There's not much to screen you from those. A little bit of undergrowth and a few hemlocks. Tonight's dinner is Trailtopia Jambalaya. Single serving, 370 calories. There's our jambalaya. Not as good as my wife makes. Not as good as my son makes. But it's still alright. And it did fit all in my pot. This was a little bit of an experiment to see if I could cook a meal all in my new 750 milliliter titanium Tokes pot. Decent sized chunks of chicken and shrimp. This is pretty spicy. This is kind of exciting to see. Indian pipe. According to one of my biologist friends, this is a plant, not a fungus, and it grows without chlorophyll. So there's a plant without chlorophyll. So Dad always said, look up when you're in the woods. That's what they call a widowmaker. Here's another one. That goes way up in the air. There's a long trail to the privy off the backside of the campsite. Got my sack hanging up there on a beech tree. And we come up to another sign pointing the way to the privy. Behind that big boulder there is a box privy. These hemlock trees have some good horizontal branches that can be used for a bear hang. They're a good distance away from camp. There's the view from the hammock. Might have to button down a little tighter. So it was really hot and sticky last night when I went to bed. So I left the tarp pitched up trying to catch any breeze that I could. And I got up about 1 o'clock in the morning, heard some rumbles of thunder, went to the bathroom, lowered the tarp, quite a bit, but not full storm mode. About 5 a.m. I woke up and it was pouring. And at that point, I didn't want to get up and get out and get all soaking wet trying to pitch the tarp the rest of the way down. So everything that was covered, like my pack and life vests and my flotation cushions, my seat cushions, that stayed dry. I had that covered, so that was fine. The hammock stayed dry, although I could feel a little bit of mist against the side. I didn't feel wet. Of course, it was 100% humidity, so everything felt damp. They're now calling for thunderstorms with a possibility of hail and high winds this afternoon, so I'm going to pack up and head out before that can happen. Sleeping out in the rain and a wind, that's kind of an adventure, and I don't mind that. It's kind of actually fun. I like being able to look out underneath the tarp and see what's going on. It's way better than being in a tent for me, where you're just locked up inside this little Ziploc bag and you can't see anything. But I don't want to take any chances on getting hurt, trees coming down or hail damaging anything. So I'm just going to pack up and head on home.